The fluorescent lights overhead cast an eerie glow on the rows of humming machinery, as if the very walls of the laboratory were alive and watching. Dr. Rachel Kim, a renowned scientist, stood at the edge of the room, her eyes scanning the space with a mixture of curiosity and trepidation. She had been a spy once, before the weight of her secrets had driven her to seek redemption in the sterile world of science. But the past had a way of catching up, and Rachel had received a cryptic message that hinted at a long-buried mistake. As she walked through the lab, Rachel's gaze fell on a section of the wall that seemed out of place. The panels were slightly misaligned, and the seam between them was almost imperceptible. She reached out a hand, her fingers tracing the edge of the panel, and pressed a hidden catch. The wall slid open, revealing a narrow passageway that plunged into darkness. Rachel's heart quickened as she stepped into the passage, the door closing behind her with a soft hiss. The air in the passage was stale, and the only sound was the soft hum of machinery. Rachel's eyes adjusted slowly to the darkness, and she began to make out the outlines of a narrow corridor. She walked, her footsteps echoing off the walls, until she reached a door that was locked and guarded by a retinal scanner. Rachel's eyes were scanned, and the door slid open, revealing a small room filled with rows of servers and a single console. Rachel approached the console, her eyes scanning the screens as they flickered to life. She was searching for a file, one that she had been told was hidden deep within the lab's secure systems as she worked. The screens began to display a cryptic message, one that seemed to be a riddle. Rachel's mind was a maze of codes and ciphers. But this one was different. It was as if the message was speaking directly to her, taunting her with its secrets. Suddenly, the lights in the room flickered, and the screens went dark. Rachel was plunged into darkness, her heart racing with fear. She heard footsteps, heavy and deliberate, and the sound of breathing. A figure emerged from the shadows, its features indistinct. Rachel's hand reached for the knife she kept hidden in her pocket. But as the figure drew closer, she saw that it was a woman, her face twisted with a scar that ran from her cheek to her chin. The woman's name was Lena, and she was a former prisoner of the lab. She had been subjected to experiments, her body modified with cybernetic enhancements that had driven her to the brink of madness. But as Rachel looked into her eyes, she saw something there that gave her hope. Lena was not a monster. Despite what the lab had done to her, she was a person, trapped in a world of steel and concrete. Together, Rachel and Lena worked to uncover the secrets of the lab. They navigated the secure systems, avoiding the guards and the cameras. As they worked, Rachel began to realize that her mistake had been not just a single event, but a series of choices that had led her to this place. She had been so focused on her own redemption that she had ignored the suffering of others. The file they were searching for was hidden deep within the lab's systems. But as they finally accessed it, Rachel's world was turned upside down. The file was not what she had expected. It was not a record of her mistake, but a revelation. The lab was not what it seemed. It was a front, a cover for a much larger conspiracy. And Rachel's mistake had been not just a single event, but a catalyst for a chain of events that had led to this moment. As Rachel and Lena emerged from the passage, they were met with a sight that made Rachel's blood run cold. The lab was surrounded by guards, their guns drawn. The scientists were being herded into a secure area, their faces white with fear. Rachel realized that she had been wrong all along. Her mistake had not been a single event, but a symptom of a much larger disease, and she had just become a part of it.